Corona versus swine flu, which one is more dangerous? Ever since the COVID-19 outbreak started a few months ago in Wuhan, the world has been comparing it with numerous other outbreaks from our history. Is this because swine flu was the last most recent pandemic the world knows of? Or is it because their symptoms are way too similar to be true? Let's compare. 1. Origin of the pandemic. The swine flu virus called H1N1 allegedly originated at a pig farm in Mexico in the summers of 2009. Eventually, it spread to America and the rest of the world. The present generation saw a pandemic of this scale for the first time, and needless to say, it was the scariest thing ever. A different variety of this virus was said to be responsible for causing the Spanish influenza epidemic in 1918 to 1920. So the irritated relapse after nearly 9 decades was surprising. The 2019 corona pandemic started from a city called Wuhan in China. It rapidly spread across the world in a span of just a few months. 2. Types of virus. The swine flu virus is called H1N1 and it is an influenza virus and was said to widely affect young adults and children. Since the older generation had already been exposed to earlier viruses of the same type, they were said to be at less risk due to the antibodies present in them. The incubation period of the virus was less than a week, which means that people learned quickly that they were affected and could take the necessary measures thereon. H1N1 responded well to antiviral drugs already used to treat the flu, so people were able to take precautionary measures well in time. The virus was earlier found to cause diseases in pigs. This was the first time it was acting up in human beings and thus was called the swine flu disease, based on its origins. The virus that causes corona was identified as severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2. Like swine flu, this virus too tracks back to animals, most likely bats. But scientists are yet trying to figure out how it ended up affecting human beings. This virus is stated to be from the coronavirus family, and is occurring or impacting people for the first time in this pandemic. The incubation period for this virus is long, close to 2 weeks. It also leaves a lot of people asymptomatic, thus, controlling the spread of this virus is becoming difficult by the day. Most countries are on a lockdown to ensure minimal spread, but there is only so much we can do. Coronavirus disease also spreads through mites, any inanimate object subjected to the virus through any form of contact. So it's been stated that cardboard can carry the virus for 24 hours, doorknobs for about 48 hours and plastic bottle for about 72 hours. This ongoing pandemic hasn't found a prevention or cure yet. So unless we know of it, it will be difficult to say for certain how this virus can be controlled. 3. Symptoms. Symptoms of swine flu were said to be high fever, sore throat, cough and weakness. Usually these symptoms would take 1 to 4 days to show up after infected. However, with corona, the situation is slightly intensified. While predominantly the symptoms are the same, cases have also registered body aches, pneumonia, respiratory issues, abdominal pain, headache etc. along with the above list. The issue with corona is that it takes anywhere between 1 to 14 days for a patient to start showing symptoms of the disease. 4. Vaccination and Prevention. The H1N1 vaccine was developed and made available to countries so as to protect its citizens against the virus. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has found no such prevention measure as yet. Since both viruses spread like, well, viral bodies through touch, fluid particles, mites. It is essential for us to maintain extremely high standards of hygiene and sanitation. Keep our mouths and noses covered with a mask and adhere to health protocols set aside by the World Health Organization. H1N1 can spread through aerosols along with the regular path of spread, however, Thankfully, COVID-19 hasn't been declared as an airborne disease. Practicing isolation is the need of the hour. This will help us contain the disease spread and help us curb its impact. 5. Global spread. The contagiousness of the virus can be measured by the R0, called R0 value. It indicates how contagious the disease is and an average number of people who will contract the disease from one infectious person. This number applies to people who were not vaccinated or previously infected from a disease. For swine flu, the value of R0 was 1.46, while for COVID-19, it has been stated as 2.5, almost double of swine flu. This is unsettling since we know that COVID-19 does not show the symptoms of the disease in most people. According to statistics, swine flu affected around 700 to 1.4 billion people worldwide and killed around 151,000 to 575,000 people in the first year of the pandemic. In percentage, that would be 0.0007% of the world's population. The fatality rate for H1N1 was said to be 0.02%. For COVID-19, the stats are slightly different and constantly changing. There have been over 4.66 million infected cases worldwide and over 312,000 deaths already in the mere 5 odd months of coronavirus. The numbers are constantly changing and we are all living in a fear of how high the fatality rate is going to end up being. 6. Impact of social media. The COVID-19 outbreak is the first pandemic of the social media age. Of course, in 2009, this generation witnessed the swine flu pandemic, but let's be honest, social media back then was nowhere close to what it is today. The ongoing pandemic has created not just a crazy fear of the unknown but also notoriously became the premise for most rumors and misinformation, which is the worst fear during a major health scare. As of now, since we are in the midst of the pandemic, it is safe to assume that COVID-19 is the scarier one between swine flu and itself. While we will obviously not be certain till these struggling times are over and we have clear data and details. Until then, stay safe. Stay home. Clean surfaces, your hands continuously. Avoid physical contact and practice social distancing and self-isolation. Keep your hands, mouth and nose covered when you step out of your house and ensure you stay protected from this virus. Together, we need to fight this pandemic, and it is only possible if each one of us do our bit.